Relationship is reality. We spend most of our lives believing reality is made of things. Tables, chairs, doors, windows, houses, pavement, bodies, hurting bodies, trees, mountains, stars, and matter. The older I get, the less convinced I am that that's true. I'm beginning to suspect reality isn't built from things at all. It's built from relationships. Take away every relationship in your life, just for a moment. Not the people, the relationships. Imagine a world where there is no husband or wife, no parent or child, no friend, no neighbor, no teacher, no stranger, no anger, no forgiveness, no fear, no grief, and no love. Would anything meaningful remain? The objects would still be there. The house would still stand. The trees would still sway in the wind. The mountains would still reach into the clouds. But would any of it matter? I don't think it would. Because meaning isn't found inside of things. Meaning exists between them. A wedding ring is just metal until someone places it on another person's hand. A flag is only cloth until someone is willing to stand beneath it, or be sent home under one. A photograph is paper until it becomes someone's last picture with their father. Matter matters because relationship gives it meaning. I've been married for almost 4 decades. People sometimes ask how you stay together that long. The honest answer isn't that we've avoided hardship. We've had plenty. It's that every season required us to keep choosing the relationship, not once, tens of thousands of times. Relationships are less like monuments and more like gardens. They aren't built, they're tended. Children teach us the same lesson. Parents eventually discover they cannot control who their children become. At some point, the relationship changes. Authority slowly gives way to trust. Instruction becomes conversation. Eventually, if we're fortunate, friendships begin to emerge. It's no longer about raising a child. It's about loving another adult. The relationship survives because it keeps changing. Grief reveals this truth in an entirely different way. When someone dies, the relationship doesn't disappear. It changes. You still find yourself wanting to call them. You have one-sided conversations with them. You hear a song they loved. You cook their favorite meal. You laugh exactly the way they used to laugh. They're gone, yet somehow the relationship continues shaping your life. Maybe grief hurts so deeply because relationships are more durable than bodies. Nature seems to understand this better than we do. No tree survives alone. Forests communicate breath beneath the soil through intricate fungal networks, sharing nutrients and warning neighboring trees of danger. Bees cannot exist without flowers. Flowers cannot flourish without pollinators. Rivers carve valleys, valleys guide rivers, space holding our sun holding us, all of it in the palm of God's hand. Life isn't a collection of independent things, it's an astonishing web of dependence. Even faith at its heart is relational. Not merely believing something, belonging to someone. Loving God, loving our neighbor, receiving grace, extending mercy. Christianity doesn't begin with rules, it begins with relationship. Perhaps that's why Jesus summarized the entire law with 2 relationships instead of a list of behaviors. Love God, love one another. Everything else grows from there. I've spent much of the last year writing fiction. The more I write, the more I notice that every story eventually asks the same question. Not what happened, but who remained connected. Heroes aren't remembered because they're the strongest. They're remembered because they refuse to abandon relationship when fear tells them to. Sometimes villains aren't born from evil, they're born from isolation. Disconnected, alone. I've started wondering if loneliness isn't simply an emotion. Maybe it's one of the deepest fractures reality can experience. because isolation slowly convinces us that we exist apart from everyone else. But we don't. We never have. None of us arrived here alone. None of us survives alone. None of us will be remembered alone. Every life is woven into countless others, some briefly, some for decades, some for generations. Perhaps that's why the smallest acts of kindness often feel larger than they appear. Holding a door, listening without interrupting, calling someone you haven't spoke to in years, sitting beside a hospital bed, forgiving someone who never expected it. Each one quietly strengthens the invisible threads that hold ordinary life together. Maybe that's the real work we're all doing. Not building careers, not accumulating possessions, not even chasing happiness. Perhaps we're simply learning how to care for the relationships that make everything else meaningful. Maybe that's what maybe that's what it has meant to be human all along. The older I become, the less interested I am in being right. I'm becoming far more interested in remaining connected, because I've begun to suspect something that would have sounded impossibly naive to my younger self. Perhaps reality isn't made of matter. Perhaps relationship is reality.